hobos and tramps, cross-eyed mosquitoes and bow-legged ants. Admission is free. Y'all pay at the door. Pull up a chair and sit on the floor. It's time once again for the world-famous Hartland Hootenanny. Hi, everybody. I'm Ketch, Secor of Old Grove Medicine Show, welcoming you to the Crow's Nest here at Hartland Studios in East Nashville, Tennessee, USA, for the most exciting hour of live stream entertainment you've ever seen since the transformation of Jean-Philippe Leo Smet to Johnny Halliday. Our very special guest on the Hartland Hootenanny tonight is an American musical legend. We're so very proud to have the Ragin Cajun with us tonight, the king of Cameron Parish, Louisiana, and a member of the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame. It's a big fay-do-do here on the Hootenanny this Saturday because the one and only Doug Kershaw is here. Hey!
Yes,
all right. Hey friends, it's time once again we gather in. We're so glad we're all here. We're going to suck the head off of that crawfish and laissez le bon temps rouler. Welcome one and all to this week's live broadcast of the Hootenanny, everybody. It's so great to see you all together, so thanks for joining us for tonight's very special show. It's Fay-Do-Do night here on the Hootenanny, and we're celebrating the sounds of the Pelican State, sweet Louisiana. So, uncap a bottle of Abita beer, get out your oyster knife and start shucking, and don't forget to stir the roux. It's Fay-Do-Do time here on the Hartland Hootenanny. J'ai voulu le renard de la balette, j'ai voulu le renard danser. J'ai voulu le renard de la balette, j'ai voulu le renard danser. Laissez-vous taper la main, laissez-vous tous s'embrasser. J'ai voulu le renard de la balette, j'ai voulu le renard danser. J'ai voulu le renard de la balette, j'ai voulu le renard danser. Les aigus tous s'embrasser, les aigus tous terrasser. J'ai voulu le renard de la balette, j'ai voulu le renard danser. Oh, merci, très bon, all right. Well, it sure is great to be with you here tonight. I'm so excited about our guest, the legendary fiddler, accordionist, songwriter, author, movie star, and so much more, Doug Kershaw. But before we get to Doug, hey everybody, how's it going? How is your 15th, 18th, 20th week of self-isolation? How have you kept your sanity while surviving the global pandemic? What have you been up to? What's been keeping you busy in these early days of summer? Have you finished all your puzzles? Made collages out of your magazines? Taught your dog how to roll over backwards? Learned to blow smoke rings? Met all your neighbors? Taken up knitting? Rolled your own pretzels? Gone crappie fishing? Built a koi pond and a cucumber trellis? Raised chickens? Adopted a highway and also turned pescatarian? Filled out your U.S. Census forms? Sent postcards to your cousins in Utah and the one overseas in the U.S. territory of Guam? Have you learned to speak Farsi? Written a song and a sonnet and a short story and a screenplay and a novella and a tone poem? Have you cleaned out your attic? Your basement? Have you practiced yoga and flower arranging? Have you darned your socks? Oil painted something abstract? Done needlepoint? Caulked your storm windows? Bought a kiddie pool? Stopped just short of openly flirting with a telemarketer? Learned to juggle? Made hand-cranked peach ice cream? Conjugated irregular verbs in German? Forgiven an old arch nemesis? Switched to a tankless water heater? Started jogging? Stopped shaving? Gone camping? Made a bun cake? Ate snails? Raised sheep? Played rummy? Chewed gum? Hula hooped? Unicycled? Cooked mussels? Shelled beans? Walked down the middle of what used to be a busy street? Because if you haven't yet, don't worry. You've got all summer long. Oh. All right, hey, come on out here. Resident Corey Yons. Here he is, folks. Our resident James Booker, he's no stranger to that peculiar Pelican State boogie. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man.
You ready to do a little fade-o-do here on a big Saturday night?
I am very ready. Bonjour, everybody. Let's get this fade-o-do fired up.
All right, CY folks, it's time for that special fade-o-do medley of Louisiana favorites here. Simmered in a hearty shrimp gumbo of Cajun, blues, Zydeco, and swamp pop, and stirred with a hackberry branch, shaped like a baseball bat, and then deep fried in alligator grease. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I got my alligator teeth on my hat this time.
Well, you get down the fiddle and you get down the board. You kick off your shoes and you throw them on the floor. Dance in the kitchen till the morning light. Louisiana Saturday night.
Waiting in the front yard, sitting on the lawn. Single shot rifle and a one-eyed dog. They're yonder come again, folk in the moonlight. Louisiana Saturday night. I tell you, my brother Bill and my other brother Jack, a belly full of beer and a possum in a sack. 15 kids in the front porch light. Louisiana Saturday night.
Well, you get down the fiddle and you get down the bowl. Kick off your shoes and you throw them on the floor. Dance in the kitchen till the morning light. Louisiana Saturday night. Woo!
Oh, that's a good one, Corey. Oh, here's another Saturday night song from the great Pelican State.
Everybody let's sing, sing, sing. Everybody let's sing, sing, sing.
Oh, let's all pitch in and do our thing. We got to make a better world to live in.
Now tell them about it, man.
You know the world we know was built on skill that alone don't count. Without the sweat and toil of mine, it wouldn't be worth a dime. You got to live and give, share and care, really put some love in the air. When your neighbor's down, you gotta pick 'em up, for nobody can live in despair. Oh, everybody let's sing, sing, sing.
Everybody let's sing, sing, sing.
Let's all pitch in and do our thing. We got to make a better world to live in. Oh, everybody let's sing, sing, sing.
Everybody.
Sing, sing,
Do it for
sing.
Dr. John.
Oh, let's all pitch in and do our thing. We got to make a better world to live in. All right, Ketch, I got one from the Crescent City of the Great Fats Domino calls. I'm walking to New Orleans. You know I'm walking to New Orleans. I'm gonna need 2 pair of shoes when I get through walking these blues. We're walking to New Orleans. One time, and I'm walking to New Orleans. Gonna walk with me, what? I'm walking to New Orleans. I'm gonna need 2 pair of shoes when I get through walking these blues. I'm walking to New Orleans, yeah.
And who can forget the national anthem of Louisiana?
Tonight, Joe, me gotta go, me oh my oh. Me gotta go on the road down the bayou. I leave on the sweetest one to me oh my oh. Son of a gun, gonna have a big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. Cause tonight I'm gonna see my Cherokee oh. Big guitar, fill the jar and the oh. Son of a gun, gonna have a big fun on the bayou. Son of a gun, gonna have a big fun on the bayou.
All right, y'all. Were you cutting a rug out there? Now listen, anybody at home who wasn't dancing the fade-o-do, now's the time to fess up. See that little web address at the bottom of your screen? That one. It's your turn to help us keep this crawfish pot boiling over at the Hartland Studios. Well, Corey, why don't you lasso in that old piano? Because it's... Oh, you're already lassoed. It's time once again for that special segment. Wait for the bell. It's time time for a new typewriter. News on Parade, that wonderful time. Well, all right. Let's open up the Pan American mailbag so that we can... Hey, what are you looking at? Are you noticing our new threads? Of course you are, because they're that sharp on your TV screen.
Hey, Ketch.
Yeah.
I know what those big Cajuns out there are thinking. They're wondering if these shirts come in double XL and triple XL sizes. Well, folks, you're in luck. Even if you've been eating at Popeyes since 1980, we guarantee we'll have all the sizes that fit you.
Corey's right, folks. We even have sizes for the little crawdads and those sexy crawfish queens, too. Hey, how about another great offer? Are you a Saints or Neville Brothers fan who feels like giving us money and not getting a t-shirt for it? Well, then just click the PayPal link at the bottom of this page and help us keep the po' boys stuffed with gravy and french fries here at Hartland Hootenanny Studios. All right, let's open up the Pan American mailbag. I'm so excited. I want to hear from some of the folks who look forward to the Hootenanny all week long. Let's see. We've got folks listening from Tucson, Arizona, Muscle Shoals, Alabama, Melbourne, Australia, the Netherlands, Willkommen, Brazil, Nova Scotia. Jay Bailey says, my daughter has taken up knitting. Wonderful. Marge Healy says, I put on a new roof. Anna Morel Gray says, Wales misses OCMS. We miss you out there in Cardiff. And congratulations on that new roof. And a knitting daughter. Leafy Cool Shade says, patio dancing here. Peter in Kingston Springs says, enjoying the show with my 3-month-old baby Sage. Hey, Sage. And Barrett Pinion from Portland says, please say happy birthday, Porter. Happy birthday, Porter. And we got a lot of wonderful mail to share with you here. Let's see, folks have been writing in all week long. And here's a letter all the way from Carmel, Indiana. This one comes from David. David writes, Dear Ketch, I want to ask your help in wishing my husband Nathan a happy 3rd wedding anniversary. When we first started dating, he played me wagon wheel on the guitar 5 years and I wedded our baby and we are here now. Nathan watches the show every week and is one of OCMS's biggest fans. Hey, Nathan. Last weekend we sat outside playing cards while watching the baby on the monitor. Got to do that. And Hartland Hootenanny on the phone. It ended up being a really nice quarantine date night. Keep up the great work with gratitude from Carmel, Indiana. Hey, Erica, Nathan, thanks for writing. And the dog says hi too. Here's one from Shelburne, Vermont, up in the Green Mountain State. That's exciting. That's where our pals, the Western Terrestrials, just put out. Oh, I see a little Kizat. Whoa, the big bucks have arrived. One for Episcopal School and one for Old Crow. What a combo. Thanks, David Diaz, doctor. Hartland Hootenanny deserves an award. Best work of spirit-lifting, soul-infusing, rabble-rousing, laugh-inducing musicality and patriotic rumination. I like the sound of that. I'm going to read this all when I get off stage, and I'm going to write you back. Thank you so much. Oh, let's see what else we got. Oh my gosh, here's one from Kate Pagan from Friendsville, Tennessee. Friendsville. God, what a lovely sounding town that is. It's just on the other side of Enemysboro. Oh, here's some wonderful artwork from a 2-year-old in Friendsville, Tennessee. Look at this great work that she's doing. Thanks, Kate, for sending your kiddos beautiful pictures. And let's see what she writes. My brother is Levi, so I like your Levi song. I also really like the Mama Wagon song because my mama's name is in it. Oh. I ask to watch your concerts all of the time and get to stay up late to watch them. My whole family dances. Thank you for having concerts for us. And thank you for sending artwork to us, Kate. All right, we got time for one more. Let's see who it's from. It's from just up the street in Madison, Tennessee, from F&A Hay Quarters. Ooh, nice transition. God, you got those in how many keys? Let's see what they write. Howdy, dear Ketch. We absolutely love Hartland Hootenanny. We think your show could take the place of Prairie Home Companion, as if y'all are keeping us entertained. Could we request Corey Yance to play woodblocks as an additional sound effect during your show?
I think I'll have to get a pair of those. Good suggestion.
Hey, it's from our friends The Farmer and Adele. You can hear them on WSM and wherever great records are sold. Happy trails and yep to you. Well, that's wonderful. If you want to write the Hartland Hootenanny, it's easy. And with quarantine providing you ample times for activities such as letter writing and stamp ordering and licking and disinfecting after your mail carrier visits your porch, then please mail your letters to the Hartland Hootenanny in care of Old Crow Medicine Show's Heartland Studio, 711 Hart Lane, Nashville, Tennessee, 37216. Don't have time to disinfect on your way to the post office? Stay home, folks, and correspond with the Hartland Hootenanny on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All right. Back to the lock with you, Nessie. Hey, folks, before we go to our thrilling performance by our very, very special guest star, let's just play a little bit of a song a Doug song that we've had in our heads all week long here at the Hootenanny. It's time to exercise that wriggling gummy earworm in our Record of the Week segment, Cajun Coriance edition. What spicy crawtator hit have you got all cranked up to help us laissez le bon temps rouler here on the Hootenanny?
From the one and only, the Ragin Cajun, why not feed it to the fishes? Oh man, are you excited?
6 feet of excitement, man.
Marie, Papa Marie, you said you needed me. Papa Marie, you took your love from me. Well, you can take my love and throw it in the river, feed it to my fish with the love I give you. Take my love and throw it in the river, feed it to my fish with the love I give you. Cry, Marie, let me cry, Marie. Cry, Marie. One time for you and one time for
Hey!
then you can take my love.
Hey, all right, all
Feed it to
right.
the fishes.
Well, you know what that sound means. It's time to go straight to our next special segment on the Hartland Hootenanny, that wonderful bit I like to call Brighten Your Quarantine, with the radiant hues of tonight's very special guest star. Folks, our guest on the Hartland Hootenanny tonight is undoubtedly the most celebrated Cajun American recording artist of all time. He's a multi-million album seller and the first musician to have his recordings broadcast in outer space. Please join me in welcoming the legendary Doug Kershaw.
I love it. I love it, man. What an introduction.
Oh gosh, you look great, Doug. How you doing?
I am doing great. Let me tell you a little bit about you. You were talking about being in confined in rooms. Well, I had no idea how crazy I really was until I got home and got locked in. I got sane, and it scared me. So I'm going back on the road and get crazy again.
Well, I understand you're going out on the road pretty soon. You got a big show coming up in Oklahoma. Is that on the 4th of July?
4th of July in Grove, Oklahoma. Me and Jana J is her name. But anyhow, it's Cajun Festival.
Well, they sure picked the right headliner. Hey, you got to play a
Thank
tune
you,
for us
sir.
here? What instrument did you bring out to play?
Well, I brought my fiddle, and I was gonna do Feed It to the Fish, because since we talked, it's been in my head, but I'll do something else. I've got 2 song category. I can do 2 songs now.
You got a few to pick from. What are you going to pick here for your first number?
Okay. How about Diggy Diggy Low? Or let you pick Diggy Diggy Low?
Yeah,
Or
will
Louisiana
ya?
Man?
We'll be
Which one?
two-stepping in Nashville. Here he is, folks. The Ragin' Cajun himself, Doug Kershaw, with Diggy Diggy Low here on the Hartland Hootenanny.
Hey, diggy diggy lie, diggy diggy lie. Hey, no, the pop was cold in the coffee show. Diggy diggy lie, diggy diggy low. Hey, diggy diggy lie, diggy diggy low. Everybody really was a book. Nobody else could ever show. So much love for diggy diggy low. Well, that's the place and find romance where they do the Cajun dance, steal the kiss with every chance. So they know every glance. Diggy diggy low, diggy diggy low. And everyone knew nobody else could ever show. So much love for diggy diggy low.
Hallelujah, Doug. You sound so good. Wow, what a beautiful tune. Oh, man.
Thank you.
Well, I got a couple questions for you before we play some more. And folks that are tuned in can send in questions. So if you got one for the Ragin' Cajun, go ahead and write your questions. Doug, you're coming to us live from your home in Greeley, Colorado. Tell us what your quarantine experience has been like out there at the foot of the Rockies.
Well, it's been terrible. No, it was wonderful. I get to go in my backyard and plant grass and work all day and sweat. And wished I was back on the road where I don't have to work so hard. But the only problem, I try not to get depressed. It's a wonderful thing. And I managed to do that. I've got a great, great family. I've got two of my boys that are here and my wife, Pamela. And hey, we don't even argue that much anymore.
Well, I heard you just hit a big milestone and that you and Pam celebrated what anniversary?
45.
Wow. Now, wait. Now,
Yes.
I heard a little rumor that you got married at the Houston Astrodome. Is that true?
Well, yes, it is true. It is. It was, what a thing it was. We were going to get married in Denver at the Brown Palace. And I was playing golf at the Houston Open, and people from Astrodome approached me and they said, "Hey, Doug, we've been trying to get a hold of you. We want you to come and do a Cajun day for us." I said, "When?" They said, "June 21st. I said, "Can't do it. I'm getting married." And he said, "They've never had a wedding at the Astrodome." I said, "Okay." He said, "Let's do it." Oh, my wife, the only thing that really bothered Pam was she had already had all the cards and invitations. So she said, "What am I going to do?" I said, "Well, just take a pen and put through and then write Astrodome."
Yeah,
and she did
sure.
that. That was their invitation.
That's wonderful.
And it stuck.
Congratulations on 45 years to Pam and Doug Kershaw. Doug, you were raised on a houseboat in the Louisiana swamps. Tell us about your childhood and how you first became a fiddler.
Well, I was at 5 years old. We're going to start with Fiddler. And my brothers, my two older brothers, had a fiddle, and they put it on top of a shiver rope. And the last thing they said before they went with my dad to go fishing, they said, "Doug, don't touch that." Well, that's all I needed. I figured out how to climb and pull it down and play while Mom was out of the house. And one day I dropped it and cracked the fiddle. Well, I couldn't hide that. My dad got back, and he found out. He pulled me in the bedroom. We only had 2 rooms. He pulled me in the bedroom with a razor strap, and he'd never whipped me. But he says, "Doug, if you can play me one song." He says, "I won't whip you, but if you can't, your butt's mine." I played him 3 songs. 1 I learned, and 2 I made up on the spot. And I've never put that fiddle down since.
Oh, man. Your dad had a fun nickname for you. Tell us what your dad had a couple nicknames for you.
Well, T-Baby.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
T-Gateau.
The T-Gateau, yeah.
T-Gateau,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He had it. I was pulling on this knives and stuff. He was skinning fish, and he took his hat and he popped me on the head, and I started running and crying. Mama came out of the door. She said, "You broke all the ice on the cake." So T-Gateau.
Well, T-Gateau went out and wrote
Nice.
himself a book, folks, and you can get a copy of this. I was so pleased that this one came in the mail, and you can order these right on Amazon, and I'm sure at your local independent bookstore. It's called The Ragin' Cajun, Memoir of a Louisiana Man. And, we talk a lot about Cajun time and Louisiana time, and I like to keep my time here on Doug Kershaw time. And now, where are folks going to get a Doug Kershaw watch like this one? You selling these?
Ah, you're wearing it, huh? Yeah.
Well, are you going to play another tune for us, or what?
Well, I think you and I should play a tune.
I like the sound of that.
I've been trying to teach you, and hell, you already knew.
I learned it from you.
Uh-huh. Well, by golly, you did. Let me say this. I've played with everybody in the world. Well, I enjoyed performing with you guys more than anything. When we did the Grand Ole Opry, that blew me away. You guys are pretty damn good, you know that? Huh? Y'all should go pro. You should get a bus and go on the road.
That's a good idea. I think one thing missing though, we got to start singing in French.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that one. You want me to kick it off?
Yeah, why don't you?
I'll do that, and I'll tell you what. I will do some English lyrics because I want to see if you can do the French lyrics. Can you do it?
Well, it's not the King's French, but yeah, I'll fake it.
It's not the Queen's either.
No.
Let's do something. Jolly blonde, jolly cloud, yellow flower, apple fire, and my darling, out on the river in my canoe, or out at a table go. I'm always taking boxes for jolly blonde. Yeah, you got it.
Hey! Ha ha! Oh! Hey! Jolie blonde, jolie cœur, maquillée, Panalaise, avec un nord, et quel est poids, et quel amener comme roche power.
Oh, hey, hey.
There he is, folks. The
You
one
did-
and only.
You did such a
You know,
good
we had
job.
listening to you. We had Mama Rita all tuned in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was a character. I'm a reader.
Doug, you got the Ragin' Cajun cure for the coronavirus tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only legendary Doug Kershaw. Do you have any parting words for the folks all tuned in who are loving you and sending you all their positive vibes here tonight? Got any parting words for them?
I love you. Every one of you.
That's the legendary Doug Kershaw, everybody. Take care, Doug. God bless. See you real soon.
Bye now.
Let's get together real soon and make some more music in person.
Well, we got you.
Yeah.
We got it.
See you real soon, Doug. Wow, well, what a thrill. Well, you want to get that old piano out, Corey, and I'll tell a little tall tale, and we'll... What a wonderful thing to get to share the night with the Ragin' Cajun himself. Well, tonight, as we've listened to the sonic testimony of a living legend, we know that all across this continent are the places of legend, those landscapes where the soul of North America can be heard bubbling up from the swamps, yodeling across the plains, caterwauling down through the holler, those legendary haunts where the music of our continent has been sung in its most influential forms. Well, there are myriad places. They're of the South and of the Midwest and the East of the Pacific. There's cities, their towns, regions, and many of them you know by heart. Like Memphis, home of the blues, or the Mississippi Delta, rolling down New Orleans, the birthplace of jazz. They're Nashville, home of country music, and Tin Pan Alley up in Old Manhattan, so many others. Those iconic settings for America's sweetest songs. But in tonight's All My Tales Are Tall, I'll tell you a story about a sonic landscape on this continent that many of you probably never really considered. A place where the waters run deep and the trees stand tall, and a place where a hideous act of oppression resulted in a cultural flourishing 2,000 miles away as an old world people struggled again to find their place in the new one. Tonight's tall tale is all about a young traveler who, in seeking the headwaters of American song, finds he must first leave his country and cross the border into Canada to find the homeland of the Cajun people, to find l'Acadie, to find Acadia. The summer I turned 19, I packed up my Volvo station wagon with a camp stove and a fiddle and a banjo and a guitar and 5 harmonicas, and I headed down east. I was going to the Maritimes, I just didn't know it yet. I played a couple of shows just by walking into the joint, doing what I always referred to as the barfly audition. If you've ever opened a bar room door and all the folks at the bar turn to you like vampires because they haven't seen an outside light in hours, and then you get out your banjo and play something fast and rollicking, and then the barman or maid says, "Honey, why don't you sit up in the corner tonight and you can play for tips and all you can drink," then you know what it means to pass the barfly audition. Well, I passed it with flying colors all through down East Maine, and then I got up around Bar Harbor where, incidentally, busking in front of a jewelry store, a small mercurial man tipped me $1. Turns out he was a musician living in his car too, and we struck up one of those on-the-road kind of friendships that you figure is good for a few hundred miles. Well, it turned into quite a few more, because who I met in front of that jewelry store was my dear friend and old crow partner of 20 years, Kevin Paul Hayes. Together, we passed the barfly audition all the way down the coast, setting a future stage for Old Crow Medicine Show, and then we parted ways outside Machias. From there, I hit the border at New Brunswick. Now, most Americans probably couldn't name New Brunswick or anywhere there, let alone have they been so extensively there as I was that summer. If nearby Nova Scotia is called Canada's Ocean Playground, then perhaps it'd be fitting to call New Brunswick Canada's West Virginia. It's a sparsely populated, densely forested land with a rich history of diverse peoples, all seeking their fortunes from the land's natural resources. It's also the home of the Acadian French, those pioneering peoples who first settled New Brunswick way back in the 1600s, bringing their rich tradition of fiddling to the First Nations peoples of the area, an example of one of the continent's earliest cultural exchanges, which, after the Acadians' expulsion, served as the foundation for Cajun music and Zydeco some 2,000 miles away. See, in 1755, the British descended upon the Acadian people, and they said, "Pledge your loyalty to the king or die." Well, many died, and many were deported to penal colonies around the world. About 4,000 Acadians were sent to Louisiana. And there, these cousins of the snow-capped Maritimes adapted to the semi-tropical environs of the Bayou country, Louisiana and Texas. But some Acadians eluded their British overlords, hiding out in the woods, foraging, and ultimately surviving. The Acadians of New Brunswick and parts of Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia are a proud people who remain fiercely independent and united by a rich culture all their own. Crossing into St. Stephen's, New Brunswick from Calais, Maine, I stepped into a little hole in the wall where I passed the barfly test and raised about $60 Canadian. The next day, I pulled onto the Trans-Canada and I turned on my radio. They were playing this Irish Dement song, Wasteland of the Free, and then I heard the announcer say that Irish was playing that night at the Folk Festival in Edmundston. Oh my God, you've never seen a Volvo make a faster U-turn on the Trans-Canadian Highway. Edmundston was just 60 miles up the St. John River from where I was, and I sped off in excitement to meet the singer with the voice of enchantment. When I pulled into the town, there seemed to be little more than a pulp mill belching smoke noxiously into the air. I kept looking for signs of the folk festival, and then I asked a very old man sitting on a very rickety park bench in front of a very odoriferous paper mill. I said, "Pardon, monsieur, où est la fête populaire?" Or, "Pardon me, sir, where is the festival?" And he just laughed, and like you do when you're in a foreign land and you don't really know the language, you imitate what others are doing. So I began to laugh, and we laughed and laughed together outside the pulp mill in Edmundston, New Brunswick, until abruptly he began to have a coughing fit, and suddenly he spat angrily onto the sidewalk near my feet, and he said, "Il n'y a pas de patin festival dans cette trou ville," which means something like, "There's no blanking festival in this blank hole town." What had the man on the radio been talking about? Where was Iris Dement? And more importantly, where was I going to sleep tonight? Edmundston. Wait, oh my God, he was talking about Edmonton. You know, like in Alberta, thousands of miles away. Anyway, years later, I finally met the enchanting Iris Dement at one of Garrison Keeler's last A Prairie Home Companion broadcasts. I told her this story, and she laughed and laughed, and then she pretended to spit on the ground. Anyway, onward my adventure continued as I drove back east across endless expanses of timberland, passing Nakawick, home of the world's largest statue of an axe, until I reached coastal Shippagan, and I met a crooked doctor who was pretty heavy-handed with handing out the crooked prescriptions, which makes a lot of my memories from this time kind of fuzzy, and perhaps was the reason for my terrible sunburn from a misfortunate episode of nude sunbathing while on Percocet sprawled on the sandy beaches of Ile Miscou. Well, from there, the Acadian coast was almost within reach. An hour past Miramichi, I saw the trailer parks in the distance and instantly felt a kind of southern homecoming. The Acadians are like the hillbillies of New Brunswick. They're known for their food like poutine râpé and sipat and ployes, and their parties which rage, and their love of music which sounds straight out of a Tennessee VFW hall, except in the French dialect they call chiac. Plus, Acadians, like Southerners, have the ability to drown case after case, in this case, of Molson beer. Along the Acadian coast, all the way to Moncton, I felt so at home. Every little outpost, prefab house, bar, or crab shack has an Acadian flag raised beside it. And just like their Cajun cousins, their self-pride never interferes with their welcome. Everyone is just so glad to see you. Well, I passed the Barfly audition that night in Shediac, New Brunswick, where they fed me on moosehead beer and fried clams. And they put a little sign on my tip jar that said, Pour bon bois pour le banjo garçon de Virginie. Tips for the Virginia banjo boy. I never felt so welcome as I did the summer I turned 19 and drove to New Brunswick. What first took root as a simple road trip to explore a territory unfamiliar soon bloomed in me a fascination with all the continent's sonic landscapes. Exploring this bypassed region of North America helped me see that all across the continent are places of regional distinction, where New World and Old World spirits conspire, intertwine, and blossom in song and in dance and in food and in story and in craft and in culture, and most of all, in legend. I had to go to maritime Canada to discover the legends of Louisiana, just as one has to go to Scotland to know the legend of Appalachia, just as one has to go to Senegal to learn the legend of Mississippi, just as one has to go all the way around the globe to know the legend of right where you're standing. Oh, how quickly time flies when you're having fun on the Hartland Hootenanny. Well, that's just about all the time we have for you here. We want to thank tonight's guest star, the king of Cameron Parish, straight out of the bayou, the one and the only, the legendary, always electrifying Doug Kershaw. Hey, folks, we hope to see you all again on our next episode at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where our very special guest will be singer, guitar wizard, and bluegrass legend, Billy Strings. Well, until then, keep following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Throw a couple bucks in the pickle jar if you can spare it. We'd sure like to keep this Creole Hootenanny slathered in remoulade. Well, we'll see you next week, and until we meet again, God bless, be safe, take care, wash your hands, and avoid large crowds of unmasked alligators, nutria, and muskrats. Oh, and one more thing, so long, it's been good to know ya. 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 This fade-o-do summer has only begun, and we've gotta be drifting along. Oh, the fiddles are tuned, the accordion's inflated, and the two-step is best when it's anticipated, and the crawfish are boiled, and the oysters are piling, and no global pandemic can keep a Cajun from smiling, singing, so long, it's been, so long, everybody, so long, it's been, up to the la, so long, it's been good to know ya. Our Louisiana tribute is almost done, and we gotta be drifting along. Yeah, we do. We gotta get ready to drift. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Hartland Hootenanny tonight. We appreciate each and everyone out there so much. Thanks for your years of love and support to the Old Crow Medicine Show. Know that without your steadfast friendship, we'd probably all be dead or in jail by now. So thanks for keeping us out of the clink and in the pink, folks. We love ya. We really do. We also love tonight's guest star on the Hartland Hootenanny, the one and only Ragin' Cajun Doug Kershaw. But we love the whole Kershaw family, Pam and Eli and all the boys. And who else do we love on the Hootenanny tonight? We love the Acadians of New Brunswick, Micmacs and Madawaskans. We love the Cajuns of Louisiana and Texas. We love Creoles, Los Isleños of Delacroix. We love the Homa and we love Fats Domino. We love Louisiana fisheries. We love that chicken from Popeyes. And we love Audubon Zoo too. We love Rockin' Sidney Simeon, who wrote Don't Mess With My Toot Toot. And we love the Shrimp Creole at Brennan's, 417 Royal Street in the heart of the quarter. That's all the time we have for you on the Hartland Hootenanny. But we'll see you next week. And until then, y'all, stay safe and happy. God bless and take care. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Keep your distance. Stay positive, optimistic, hopeful, healthy, cheerful, groovy, motivated, untethered, wild, free, liberated. Good night, everybody. Good night and God bless you from Nashville, Tennessee. Hey!